Yeah, she went and did her thing. And from my understanding, not just single like we smashing, but she was on dates with other guys. Nothing wrong with that. And of course, I was doing what I was doing.
Passing each other, men and women passing each other in the hallways. Is that comedy or for real?
I don't know why she said that, because I told her a story about two girls passing each other. There's no way in heck I would have her, because I know her temper.
No,
You know what I'm saying? I never seen her fight, but I know her temper. She
Yeah.
gonna make stuff uncomfortable.
Hey royalties, kings and queens, welcome back to the channel. It's your girl Royalty, back with another celebrity relationship gist. To my returning subscribers, you guys are the real MVP. And if you're new, you are so welcome. Please consider being a part of us by hitting the subscribe button and turn on the post notification bell to not miss another video. Thank you. Hey royalty, so Derrick Jaxn, the famous relationship expert whose business was all about on the internet concerning his cheating escapade, and especially recently how he divorced his wife after everything she had been through, as we later found out in her interview at the Dear Future Wifey podcast. He is here to tell his own story. I don't mind him telling his own story because there are people who are very uncomfortable. He was given a platform to tell a story that the terrorists should have respected Denaya's space because she was so vulnerable, and he created that safe space for her and all that. But hey, this is his podcast, his guests, his terms, and we do not know if he had reached out to her to let her know he would be coming. But I also read somewhere that he initially wanted them to have the interview together, but she declined. She wanted to tell her own story, do it her own way, and I respect that. So I respect that he is telling his own side of the story. Everybody should have the opportunity to tell their story. So I respect that. But I must tell you guys, it was giving cringe. It was so cringy, y'all. From the title, you reap what you sow. I'm like, okay, here comes Derrick Jaxn again. I cannot even begin to tell you. From the moment I saw the thumbnail on YouTube, I was like, oh my god, this is going to be very good, but it's going to be very cringy. It took me back to his first public apology, you know, with Denaya sitting beside him and the whole helmet to salvation, whatever. I was just like, the way I felt watching that video, it was almost the same way I felt watching this video. So here are some of my thoughts, you know, that was going through my head while I was watching the interview. First off, I didn't think he was going to go for the interview because Denaya did mention that she doesn't think he was going to go. He really doesn't do interview. He prefers to just, you know, say what he wants to say in his videos and all that, but he doesn't do interviews. So him coming in was a surprise because I didn't think he was going to be there. So yeah, and he did mention he wanted, you know, like to clear up things. If his kids are ever going to see hers, they should as well hear his own side of the story. While he said that, I thought, okay, there was going to be contradicting lines from her story as compared to his story, but basically same storyline, although different perspective and more context and transparency. Denaya said what happened. He doubled down on it. He didn't try to change what happened, and he is trying to be honest, telling it as it is, and you know, and from the very beginning. And also, I want to really commend the host for the interview. He did ask very important questions, taking Derrick Jaxn to take us through back to his early days as a young boy. And from what he said, we realized he had daddy issues. You know, his father not being in his life basically from when he was 1 and out of the country from when he was 4, and also his early exposure to pornography. And, you know, all of those things, you know, gave us more perspective and context. And also, it felt like at some point he was blaming her non-affection and rejection for his cheating. And is that a possibility? Of course it is, even though that came off as corny, but it is a reality. It is a reality of most men. Women have issues that they bottle in, they never express, because as at that time, from his story, and we can compare and contrast with her, she was a rape victim and he was not aware of that. And so I felt due to his early exposure to pornography, that kind of affected him. His way of expressing himself sexually is a little bit aggressive. And that really was like a pushback for Danae, considering her history. And for what he said, it was as though she was raped twice, but he didn't want to throw more light into that because that's her story to tell. So yeah, that gave more clarity to the dynamics of their relationship and how they navigated. So it was like, okay, this is a guy who is, who has high, should I say high libido or high, I don't know. He's just, he comes up hard when it comes to intimacy, and that is a pushback for our victim wife, unawares to him. And she shows none affection, she pushed him away, she's withdrawn, he feels rejected, and he goes out, because he already has this pattern and ways with women. And we can agree he's a smooth talker. A lot of women will fall for him. I don't know about attractive, because those steroid muscles, I don't know if they're real or they just look like steroid muscles. They're distracting me the whole time. They're turning me off. So I don't know about him being attractive, but yes, he's smart, he's intelligent, and he's a smooth talker. So a lot of women would fall for that. This whole story it's giving unresolved trauma from both sides. I did a whole video, 25 minutes long, after the Naya's interview on Dear Future Wifey podcast.
I would try to imitate that and recreate that in our relationships so that he could choose me and want me. And that is a low point to be. And I'm tearing up a little bit because I hate that I even got to a point where that was a thing, but that it was just that. And so I knew several other women's bodies better than I knew my own. I completely lost myself. I became a shell of myself. I tried to imitate their hair, their actions, even sexual things that I had seen him doing with them. I tried to recreate that in our life.
But for some reason, I never edited that video. And it was just, at the time I was ready to put it out, it was like too stale. It was too old, and I never did. But some of the things I mentioned from that video I never put out was that she was a willful participant, and she did not deny that. She mentioned, how she cohabited and, participated in this. She knew who he was all along. She knew he had, ex issues. She knew how he acted around women. She just wanted to be around this good-looking man because she considered herself to be like the ugly duckling, stuff like that. There was codependency between them, which is a really bad idea. So it's not like she was a complete saint, on her own. She did mention that she used her co-worker to try to make him feel jealous. But then in this interview, that's like only the contradicting line in their stories. He said, yeah, but it was beyond just using the co-worker like they did, took it a little further, like she was intimate with the guy, even though Danae did not say that. I felt like, everything he said, she being in the shower, jumping out, and him seeing his message, is he home, from the other guy. He was making it look like, yeah, she was really cheating, but somehow while he was saying that, as a lady, I could tell it was really her playing him with the guy, the text message, being in the shower, putting the phone where he could gain access was just, the whole plot. And really, he fell for it. But him saying that she later told him that she was intimate with him, but not during their relationship when they were separated, after the guy had passed, that's just like, okay. But in all sense, she really did not cheat on him because they were not together anymore. But anyway, the storyline was pretty much the same. There was transparency. He was transparent about his cheating escapade. I mean, the fact that he was honest did not change the fact that there were deceptions and that Denia, his ex-wife, suffered a lot, even though she could have saved herself from all those suffering. But then again, this is just the first part of the interview. The other part will be dropping later today. So I don't know if he took full accountability for his action or like deceiving people, because he kept on talking about, he's going to say it as it is. Like, trying to make it look like it doesn't matter what he's doing in his life. If women want to hear advice from a man's perspective on certain relationship issues, he's going to say it as it is. But I don't think that was right, because you're not going to be the big brother giving advice but living a different lifestyle contrary to your advice, while your personal relationship and family life is in shambles. And that's where a lot of people are hurt. As a matter of fact, a lot of people are even more hurt than his ex-wife. Because the comments, they came for him, they were grilling him, and even the host got bashed, Yeah, so I don't know, maybe at the second part, we're going to get more accountability as it concerns, should I say, sort of the deception of being, creating this image, this illusion of a perfect guy, pandering to women, hurt women, being one thing in front of the camera and being another thing behind the camera. That is deception. Yeah, so I don't know if he's going to be, transparent about that and really come up with some accountability, but we will find out. So is this like a cleanup for his image, and his ego? Or is he really trying to be remorseful? Because honestly, I don't see any form of remorse. I see him repeating, this pattern. Just looking at his expression and everything, I don't know if my mind is going to change after watching the part 2. I can't fully trust this guy. He is good at what he does, from the first apology, holding his wife's hand and everything, and Denia telling us everything that went on behind that, talking with his publicist, telling her, oh, you remember how Vanessa Bryant and Kobe Bryant, so I can't just trust anything he says, First of all, the problem with being a liar and coming back with apology after apology is that when you're eventually saying the truth, people cannot believe you. So I don't know if you guys can see through all of that. Although the host said he found it hard to, pick any form of lies from what he said so far. I mean, the fact that he is being honest did not change the fact that he deceived people with his image, his personality, and his content while he was living a double lifestyle at home. But then, what are your thoughts, you guys, so far? Do you think everything he was saying was total BS, trying to clean up his image, to look good, to get the coins coming back? Because, even Denia is just sort of doing the same thing he did before. She's using her story now to get some coins. Even though I don't really mind that, girl, she can grab her bag, but I also felt like she did not take full accountability during her interview, especially the helmet of salvation part and how she cursed people. She doubled down on her statement, even though really people were like looking out for her and like, hey, this guy is this, is that. But she was like cursing out people for calling him out. I expected that she could have like, hey, my comment was to people who were coming for me and not really for those who were pointing, his cheating escapade, because at the end of the day they were right. But she never did that, and that really made me, give her the side eye. And that, sort of made me feel like this girl, she's not fully healed, so she's still going through healing. And that's why I'm like, okay, if you're still going through healing, how come you're all out here selling a course and helping women? Almost $7,000. Yes, $7,000, program for women who need to heal, and baby girl needs to get healed fully herself. So it's giving, the same vibe, because she said she helped Derrick, grow his brand and everything. So she probably knows, the deal and how this works. I don't know, this couple or ex-couple, they are just giving a certain vibe. But here is what people on the street thinks about Derrick's interview so far. Let's see a few comments. So this brother says, regardless of what you think of him, I respect the brother for allowing the story to be told from both sides. In the end, this is a Christian-based platform. Christianity is about forgiveness, redemption, and reformation. If he wasn't interviewed, I would have been more shocked. I'm going to comment on this one. About forgiveness, we don't see about that, because aside his wife, he needs forgiveness from other people he deceived with his content. And until he's really remorseful, really apologetic, because he'd been apologizing before and doing it again. But I doubt that he's not going to do it again. But we'll see about that from the part 2. That's just what I'm going to say with all honesty. This sister says, I believe nothing this man says. Nothing. He can't even pretend to be sincere. And then this person says, respect him for what? For doing what he does. He's hoping to manipulate more people. He wants to be seen in a better light for his ego. He literally started out by saying so when his kids see. He wants to tell his side so he looks like someone who has seen the light. Beware of the wolf who was in sheep's clothing, who made an appearance and put the sheep's clothing back on again. People are not sparing this brother, and I am sure he expected it. He came ready. Now, this person says he watched her interview and got his story together. Derrick is a very intelligent and manipulative individual. I think so. I really do think so. And this person says, so the thing is, DJ didn't just cheat on his wife, he deceived all of us by not being who he said he was. He's the boy who cried wolf. As much as I want all of us to grow and evolve, as much as I want to offer grace to everyone, I did not trust that his words will match his actions. That's absolutely true, but about all of us, brother or sister, speak for yourself. When y'all say, speak for yourself, y'all. Anyway, this person replying to someone saying she's doing the same thing now. Maybe you forget she said she helped him build his platform. Why they're both at fault for lying and playing on people's brokenness? It's not their fault that people have no discernment and can't see the truth of who they are. I totally agree with this person on that one. And this auntie says, is this a Christian podcast? Because why are we saying we respect a man that can't at least tell the truth? There's nothing respectable about a man with no self-control. Derrick manipulated women for years, all while under the guise of being an expert on relationships. We only want to hear him say how disgusting his behavior was and how he got help. That's it. Any other details is unnecessary at this point. I quite agree with her, although this is just part 1, so can we chill? So the host, Laterras Whitfield, replied to this comment and he said, did you realize what you just said? How can I respect a man for telling the truth? Oh, do you want to lie instead? Not having self-control and honesty is two different things. Which is more Christian, the podcast or your comment? Oh my God, he came for violence. Anyway, I know there is, clear distinction between honesty and violence, but the lady also had a point. The fact that he's honest does not make him, respectable. But then again, Laterras also has a point. He respects his honesty for not trying, to defend his action, but seeing it as it is. So I don't think they needed to come for the platform. Dear Future Wife Free Podcast is doing the Lord's work, and I think he's doing a great job. This auntie says, y'all want to hate this man so bad. He's just telling his truth. She's just as bad as he is. He could have left her alone and she could have left him alone. They both decide to engage in foolery for years. We've heard her side. It's okay to know his viewpoint as well. You don't have to like it or believe it, but you'll be surprised how a man's mind operates. Educate yourself so you understand and protect yourself from being in these positions. Absolutely. I totally agree with this lady. This is the last comment I'll take, but yeah, I totally agree with what she said. I think it's fair enough to hear his side of the story because there's always two sides of the coin. And then there is the truth. So far, he did not try to change anything that she said. They basically said the same thing, just more context and more perspective and clarity. I would say one thing that is clear is the level of toxicity in their relationship, in their marriage, and also they coming into a marriage with unresolved traumas. He had his own traumas, especially Danae. She had her own traumas. She needed to have been healed before fully going into a relationship. She not communicating, sucking it in, going to her closet crying and pushing him, all that played out, and we cannot just shove it off because women are always fond of, just pandering, to the hurt and traumas of a woman, that also considering the hurt and trauma of a man, in a relationship as toxic as that. So they both were wrong in some ways so far. That's what I would say until we get the full context of his story. But from what I said during the Nair's interview, they both were wrong. They had no business getting married with hurt and unresolved traumas. He probably went too far with the things that he did, and he owned up to it.
There could have been more etiquette in how I did some of those things.
How? Tell me how you have etiquette.
First off, I thought that was kind of messed up for the girls I had passing each other. I really was in savage mode.
And not Latera saying, horror etiquette. That was funny, y'all. But yeah. Anyway, I'll just let it rest here right now, and I will be back for the part 2 so I can give a well-rounded opinion of what I think so far of their storyline, the interviews, and whatnot. But before then, do not forget to share your opinions. I always like to hear from you. And if you got to this point of the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and turn on the post notification bell to not miss another update. Thank you so much, and I will see you all on the part 2. Until then, remember to pray, work out, work smart, and slay. Bye-bye.